Wow, this house is actually just so pretty. I should totally build this in Bloxburg. All right, cool little intro done, and we're finally moving on to the actual build. So I was a little bit unsure about this build at first. My friend MABLE actually this is a collab with them, and so we decided to build this house. I didn't build the basic structure of it. That was completely MABLE. So big shout outs to MABLE. You can find all of his links down in the description. He's a great builder, so definitely check him out. And I decided, I was looking at it, I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the porch. I figured that was my best course of action for now anyways. So I laid out these, I guess, like wood planks so that I could have some kind of texture and it wasn't just a block of wood. And I also colored it pretty much, I think how it was supposed to be colored in the reference photo. And of course, lined everything up, got started on just placing the rest of them, and then making sure everything's perfect. After that, there was some kinds of like planters on the reference photo, so I made those, and then I also made the stairs leading up onto the deck, and I placed those in a few spots. Yep, and then I just added more planters, and by here the deck is pretty much done. I'm gonna add more like details like these planks to the planters, and then I'm also gonna add planks to the outside of the deck so that it's not just like a bunch of wood planks like facing out. Yeah, so that's what I'm adding here. I think that makes a lot of sense. It's definitely more realistic that way too. But I also wanted to add this I guess this white pebble texture because, I don't know, the reference didn't really have it, but I figured it would be the perfect texture for this, and I think it looked so nice. I really do like that texture, especially for like under a deck or something. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more of a cartoony texture, but it's very pretty. So I do like it a lot. Of course, I had to move on and get some landscaping going here while MABLE did whatever MABLE was doing. Not sure, but I used these like snow-covered rocks and then changed it to grass. And then I think the grass color was also very, very pretty that I used and matched very well with the rest of the house. And once I had done that a little bit, added my rocks and whatnot, I decided to make one of these gable decorations. And you can find a tutorial video up there, right in that top right corner for these. This is a rather complex one. But the biggest thing I'd say, my biggest tip is to just know your scale, practice, don't be afraid to resize things if it's not like the proper scale, it's fine. So once I had my scale completely in there, everything was looking good, I went ahead and finished it by making the curved piece in the middle. And that was pretty standard, not very hard. I do go over that, I think, in the video, so if you do need a little help with it, you can check that out. And originally, we weren't really sure if we would keep the gable decoration, but I really liked it, so I kind of pushed for it, and then we ended up keeping it, which I'm glad. I think it looks amazing. So let me know what you guys think about that gable decoration in the comments below. And so we get inside, and it's kind of an interesting interior. Like, there's a lot more space than I thought there would be, but at the same time, like, for how big the outside looks, there's actually less space than I figured there would be, which probably doesn't make any sense, but bear with me. I decided to make this shelf, this like bookshelf under the staircase. I think it turned out really nice. It was kind of like, I don't know. It was kind of a lot of wood. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't sure if I was using too much of the same texture, but I think when you cover it up with all the different like books and different textures, things look fine, so I wasn't really too mad about it. And it is kind of like a cabin, I don't know what kind of style of house this even is, but it's very rustic, very cabin-like, And I did a lot of the detailing and painting at the same time. Like, I know some people will, they'll only detail, and then right at the end they'll paint everything. I kind of like going just, you know, like making something and then painting it right after. I think that's good actually, because then you can copy and paste, right? And it's already painted, instead of copy and pasting these decorations that you've built and they aren't painted. I feel like that's a little bit more difficult. But I went ahead and started on this little desk office area thing. I made a little custom desk. It's pretty easy. It's using the shakers, like the salt shaker. I don't know, the wood one. Anyways, that's the one that everybody uses. And you just use basic shapes to make it into, I mean, I did the same thing with the railing. And yeah, it turned out really, really nice. Went ahead and continued to detail this desk up. I did like the desk a lot, actually. That's one thing about this house, is I feel like I would actually like live here, and there's enough space, like it's not so cluttered that I wouldn't enjoy it, but there's so much detail that it's like beautiful. So I really like it. I also want to just preface, I think I worked on the dining room as well, but I don't remember editing any footage of it. I don't remember seeing any footage of it, so that might just be lost footage. I know I recorded it, I don't know, but who knows. I always have problems. There's always some kind of problem. That's okay though, that's okay. As you can see, I'm going to continue detailing this bookshelf right here before moving on to the bathroom. And I think maybe, yeah, so I might have worked on it already by the time I'm working on it. Oh, no, I haven't. Well, we both worked on the bathroom kind of at the same time. I did a lot of the detailing as well, though. So, like, you'll see in here, all those details placed in there. Actually, all of them, most of them. Some of them were MABLE. I did. And then I'm also, I mean, you can watch the entire process of kind of how I'm detailing here, which I think is very interesting to see how other people detail. My biggest thing was I wanted a lot of different like bathroom clutter items. I think maybe like 90% of this shelf is from that section. Maybe the entire percent. Yeah, I think it's just 100% from that section, except the plates and the pestles. So I don't know. I also added these what are they called? Towels here. I don't know. I just thought they looked right. And you might be thinking like, dang, this shower is cluttered. Like that's a cluttered shower, but it's whatever, I think. I don't know. And besides, like there's so much space in that shower. It's a 2x2 shower. It can be a little cluttered and live. It'll be fine. Anyways, I also want to add these paintings in here just to fill up this empty wall. And at first I was like struggling to make kind of a cool shape. I ended up going with that, and I just left that in there. And then shout out to MABLE who did that custom sink and whatnot. I think it turned out really, really nice. I went ahead and fixed up some of these details in here though. And I think we put in a nice mirror decal later. I don't know the exact decals, but you know, they're not too hard to find. You can like reverse image search any of the decals I use. That is like low-key a process. So I might, if you guys really want me to, I might have to start like remembering what decal they are and then start putting it in the description. But it's just insane amount of like extra when it might only appeal to like one person or something. But if enough of you actually want it, then I'll totally do it. Like that's not that big of a deal. Anyways, so this is after I detailed the dining room. You can kind of see from up here. And I'm also taking details and copy and pasted them up here. But I did the dining room. MABLE did the kitchen. That's kind of the footage I guess I didn't have. Obviously, I didn't really have MABLE's footage. But I also worked on what's it called? MABLE also worked on the living room. But I think you guys kind of saw the living room. I'm not sure if you saw the cat. Well, who knows. But I decided to make a little couch up here. You know, there's so much space in this like bedroom upstairs. Like there was a lot. I was just like, gee, I don't know what I'm gonna put in here, but I figured, you know, just add other details and things will come together eventually. And they did, you know, so everything worked out. And of course I decided to add a couple more little things up here. I do add like a few interesting things that I like. I don't know how to describe it, and I don't want to spoil it, you know, you guys can just wait and watch, but here we go. So I added first these in here, and I didn't want the, like, I don't know what you would call it. I didn't want that showing though, like the pole. I wanted it to just be kind of like integrated, and already it kind of looks like that, and that's insane. But I also was like, there's this empty spot right here. I'm just gonna add like a bookshelf out of these planks. And of course I didn't want it poking out through the roof, so I had to make sure it wasn't. Went ahead and painted that as well. And then I'm gonna make the bookshelf right next to it. This is like one of my favorite like parts of the house here was this. Like, it's such a simple detail, but I think just because of its placement and everything, it made everything line up so nicely. Like, there's no other way for me to really describe it other than that. And of course I had to add in all the other details here, which obviously they turned out really nice. And yeah, throughout the whole home, I think like our budget wasn't like very expensive either. Like, the home is pretty affordable for what it has. But yeah, I wanted to add this last detail because this wall looked kind of, I don't know, bland, like not decorated. Who knows? But anyways, it is time for our little tour here. Now, I usually record one a little differently, and I did record one like that. But I was looking through the clips, and I just thought this was a lot prettier and kind of showed the build a little bit better. So go ahead and look at the build through these pictures here. I mean, they're not really pictures, but you get the point. I think it turned out so pretty. This build is actually so nice, and I just wanted to again shout out MABLE. You know, I really couldn't have done it without him, and it really turned out super nice. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.